Hashtag Nim's fault.
Okay, YouTube is up.
Sweet.
It's 11 o'clock. 15 UTC.
Oh, is it? That's my bad because I'm also intro today. All right, well, we'll just get started. Gonna welcome everybody to this week's live stage. I want to thank you all for joining us once again. We really appreciate you all. I want to remind everybody that the hand up icon is to request to come speak on stage. Feel free to use it and come and talk to us, ask questions, give feedback on some of the topics we're discussing. We love audience interaction and participation. I also want to remind everybody to put their in-game IDs in our live ID channel so that you can get a little extra something from Fairy for participating in the stage today. What else? I think that's it for now. So I am also going to just pass you on to Bug and we will get the day started.
Cool. Thank you so much, Nim. Appreciate that. First thing I want to start out with is the fact that if you go to a new event, it is very likely that, well, based on the update I just put in the chat, it says there's going to be season level 12 ants in season now. So that is a bit of a game changer to kind of make you pause and go, which event do I want to go to? Do I want to fight bots with season 12s or ASAs prior to the, what do you call that? The event where it switches over from season in the past, season 10 to season 11's, right? So now it's going to go from season 11's assault soldier ants to season 12's. After that, milestone. There's the word I was looking for.
Milestone.
Milestone, yeah. So, you're going to be hitting way lower nodes than in the past because they're going to be packed full of season 12s. And if you're fighting, imagine fighting a bot in Surreal Wetland. Who knows where their amp level is going to be? Because usually they're the highest level of everything. So are we going to be at amp level 2 or 1 or 3 or 4 or 5 fighting against an amp level 10 with Assault Soldier? It's just something to ponder. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm thinking Surreal Wetland will be harder than ever this season around with where we're all at with the amp system.
Way harder.
Gonna require teamwork, baby.
Huge.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, so if your alliance
not against them bosses.
Yeah, if your alliance is less than 40 people, you're gonna have a really hard time with Surreal Wetland. Just a real hard time. You would in the past anyways, but I think 40 is kind of a sweet spot. If you have more than that, then it's better. But yeah, just something to consider, right? Do you wanna go to Surreal Wetland so you can be on the charts of top, teams in the Surreal Wetland because that's the only one they really post? Or do you want to go to another event where you're not going to fight bots with season 12s right away or assault soldier ants right away? They will give us probably season 11s instead of 12s. You know how they do the free, one pulled troop right away? They'll kind of give them to you one line at a time. But I don't know, man. I'm just scared of Surreal Wetland. I think that's just going to be a nightmare.
I was going to say that I do feel like we are about to get node humbled regardless of what event we go to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I think you've got to think that they've learned from, the first wetlands. They've probably, Star Union's probably only just finished paying out the amount of money that they needed to cover the PTSD therapy from the first wetlands to people. So, you've got to kind of hope that they're not going to go full send on these this time, right?
Mm-mm.
Hope, fingers crossed. Okay.
No, that's a great point about
That's the terrifying thing.
the nodes, though. That's a great point. Like, I think it's going to help a lot with spreading the nodes out between people because, like, a lot of people were able to immediately hit level 8s. Some of the stronger players were able to hit level 9s, but a lot of people were hitting 8s and 7s at the beginning right off the go. So now I think we're going to be hitting level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 instead of 7, 8, 9. There will be a wider range. So instead of them
You think it's going to go that far?
yeah, I think instead of the developers adding more nodes, this will allow people to be spread out between the different numbers of nodes.
Mm.
Well, and Rhea
Yeah.
made a good point that says, would I not be able to hunt the level 20 hornets anymore? But we are also supposed to be seeing higher level creatures like in game as well, like in the seasons, I believe, if
Were
I'm
they
not.
over 20s, Nim, or were they harder difficulty? I couldn't kind of see that. Are they higher
Yeah,
level?
I don't know if it's like leveled, but stuff is going to be leveled up and different. So, like a lot of stuff that will be the same, but we're going to be.
I
We
mean,
might
I
feel like
think
newbies again.
I can kill level 20s with like random ants and T10s or whatever. So I don't think it's going to be that huge of a difference. Like, I think you're still going to be able to, like, I purposely hunt with, um, ants that may not match the class that I'm using because I always try to use carriers, like T10 carriers, to hunt level 20 hornets so that they race across the map fast as I'm searching for them. And I might have like a shooter ant that I'm trying to level up with a carrier lineup, so and easily kill them. So I don't foresee. Maybe I might have to use stronger amps or stronger ants that will be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? So you may lose out on the ability to gain experience on an ant because you have to put in like a higher level ant thing. I don't see it being so game changing that you won't be able to kill a high level insect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They did specifically say they're just going to increase the level. So the difficulty of each level is not going to get any harder than it already was. They're going up from 20 to 20 plus. They didn't say how high above 20 they were going, but they just did specifically say the max level will be increased from 20.
I haven't really tested that well with level 20 hornets, but like I know with level 19s, I could literally put almost any ant, like even T1s would kill them. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're pretty
So
strong. That makes sense.
I don't foresee not being able to do it with like T9s or higher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I can't see it dropping back
Maybe
that
you may
much
not be
further.
able to kill a level 19 hornet with T1s anymore if they bump up a couple more levels or whatever, but I don't foresee that it's going to be like impossible to kill level 19s or 20s or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
not the PvE stuff. Just the like for nodes, we'll find it more challenging to capture your like if you jump in and land on 8s right away, you might not be able to get the 8s right away because you're facing
That I
T12.
foresee being a bigger issue, right? Like
Mhm.
I think that's going to be more the case, like you said. Like players that were able to hit eights might only be able to get 7s next time or whatever. I see that as being more realistic, which shouldn't be too bad because eventually you're going to get the season 12s or whatever the
Yeah.
T12s during the season. So then you just have to upgrade the nodes. I like the general gameplay is not going to change that much. It might knock you down a level or two, I would say, but I don't see it being that game changing. But to your point, the infected might become a little bit more difficult.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so the amp level of your building or buildings is going to be corresponding to how high you can enhance. So if your amp level is higher, you're going to be able to expand those buildings to higher levels than 25, according to that amp update that I put in chat. And it does say the wild creature cap level is increased. So there's just, right there from the developer, they're just increasing the level of the wild creatures. But, so if like your amp level is higher, you can potentially be stronger from being able to enhance those buildings further than 25. So if you're hoarding a bunch of materials during season, which some people are trying to do, and then spend them only during off season, you won't be able to enhance your buildings as high as those who are not hoarding the materials during season.
Where did you see that?
It's posted in chat now. It says an anthill building's MAC level expanded, new heights await for season changes. So it just means that you would, like, from reading that, and we can guesstimate that normally we can max them to 25 when we enhance them with the resin, and now it's possible that we can max them higher.
Or
I don't know if we'll have to wait and see if it's tied to the amp building level.
Well, it might not be tied to the amp building level. I don't know.
Or it might be tied to, like, you have to have the building at amp 1 or something like that in order for it to do it. Like, you might have to hit a minimum.
Which is then going to make everyone spread their kind of like stuff everywhere as well.
Yeah. So something to think about if you are strategizing how you're going to spend your amp materials. That could be a factor. To me, I'm reading that it will be. So anyways, with that being said, I mean, does anyone have any questions, concerns, comments from the stage on future season 12 or amp or anything like that? Just raise your hand or put it in chat.
I mean, it wasn't a hard decision. I'm probably not facing Vast Jungle this season, or Surreal Wetlands. I'll be looking forward to reading everyone's comments on what the bots look like.
Yeah.
But
so then
I'm very excited to see. Oh, sorry. I'm just wanted to say I'm very excited to see how the bots play out in this new updated version with new season soldiers.
Well, you don't have Surreal Wetlands unlocked in your range yet, do you, Jake?
No, but this might decide whether when we do have it unlocked, if we go there or if we stick with a stressful event like Barrens or Island.
Yeah, so my point exactly on that. So how's everyone's CSC situation going? Anyone going to new? I know I went to a new alliance. Anyone else moving around, staying put?
I'm leaving my alliance.
Staying put.
You're leaving your alliance. Liar.
So
no, our team stayed put.
Okay. Do you get any new players?
We have. I have not seen as many large groups want to shift this event, which is fine. We play with a smaller. We go with quality over quantity. We don't want to like stuff it. Like, we just don't feel like we have to have 100 members to go to any event. So like, and when I mean by quality, I mean like activity. We're just looking for active players who want to have fun playing. So we've added and had some go, because there's always like a give and take when it comes to but I feel like it's been quieter overall when it's like and less like anxious, I suppose, through other CSCs I've been through. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Do you think that's due to like the gameplay? Because it feels like this season has been the least active CSC I've seen for
Well,
I mean, as far as I can remember, as long as I can remember.
and I could be wrong, but isn't this like the second one since the range? Because the range we're in just opened up, like the 551 to 850.
Oh yeah, the bigger groups. Yeah.
So I think like it's been like this is the second CSC that's been open for us. So I think it's such a wide range as well. Like people are still figuring out what suits them, like finding teams, and I think you can't always know that in just one season. So
No,
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of people that were reaching out trying to find out where Wales weren't. I don't know whether you guys picked up on a load of messages that were coming through all the time, but people were just running around servers going like, "Where are not Wales? Where
Yeah.
are servers I should?"
I think
But I
I was
do-
one of
Eight
those
messages
people.
already.
You might have been. I do think though that, and from some of the things I've been reading, that there's still a large population of players in the like group 1 and 2 that are still hoping for more of a CSC range to become a little bit wider, because I think they have more challenges for active players in those ranges.
Yeah, I think
we've-
I was talking to Sket about that the other day, and he's the same. Like, obviously, they're 100s down there, and never want to leave like the 100s. They've got kind of like really good guys down there, good group, and they're all active. But the theory for everybody else that isn't in a decent alliance on an active server in the 100s down there is that it all does need to come together, because there isn't actually that great a difference between a lot of alliances now when you put them all together. I mean, I've not seen any drastic problems with the last group merge. Has anyone else?
Mm-mm.
No
No.
issue? No. So, I mean, the 100s, you've got time on your side. So even the non-spenders, you're going to have like triple T10s and, you know, relatively well enhanced and evolved kind of mutations and things. But that age group, they weren't necessarily spending the way that people have in the last couple of years. So I feel like the gap has kind of shrunk a little bit from what I've seen.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know whether or not it's a big deal or not.
I'm just gonna say I'm really excited to be playing in the same alliance as Fox this season. So
Hey!
yeah, that'll be. I mean, we always talk about how like the people in the game kind of make your game experience, right? So playing with friends
Cool.
is,
Yeah.
I mean, it can't get any better than that. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Same. I did say that, you know, we'd give you a bit of a rest and you wouldn't have to do anything, but you know that's not going to last. So
Yeah,
But I think that also, like, talking about CSC, like, for anyone who still is maybe hasn't moved yet or thinking about it, I know for myself, like, I look for a team that resonates with how my gameplay over just a team that's winning, or like, because we all have different reasons why we play the game. And for me, overall, it's the culture of the alliance that I'm in and the people that I'm playing with, like, because that's a big part of what I do. Like, I'm a social creature. So when you're deciding where you may want to move to, really look at the things that are important to you in your overall gaming experience, because it can really make a big difference in your overall enjoyment of the game, your participation, all of that stuff.
See, and I'm
Quite-
the opposite.
sorry, Steve. Sorry, Sal.
You're the
I like-
opposite.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it's been so many years of like leading a team and, you know, trying to like organize everything that I like to kind of just chill, sit back and, you know, just do the things in the game that, you know, help build the account or whatever, and then make sure that I'm there to help fight for whatever. So like finding an organized team that doesn't require a lot of work is sometimes a good little break if you're, you know, leading and doing all the other stuff and all the planning, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of care. There is a lot
There's-
of care.
There's
You
a
know?
joke amongst a lot of my friends that are like,
oh, look, this new team I joined wants to make me an R4. What a punishment.
Right.
It can be.
Yeah.
Well, it's it's more work for no pay, kind of.
Yeah,
So
Mhm.
exactly.
Ghost
more
hugs.
more
That's what we
work.
get paid in. Ghost hugs.
Ghost hugs,
Mm.
yeah,
You can't
Yeah.
feel them, but they're there.
yeah. So I mean, other than that, I think CSC people went where they want. Like I did see some people looking for less whaley places because they wanted to try to get groundhog fragments or something like that. And I was kind of one of those people. I was like coming from a team where there was always a lot more stronger of a player than myself, and I just thought like, what if I was a little closer to the. But it didn't work. I still.
Yeah.
I'm
Have we
I'm
ever seen anything in World Suggestions about the groundhog fragments? Because that really, really seems to be a big thing that people are asking about when they're looking at servers at the minute. Is
With the
whether
groundhog
they are,
score?
yeah, massively, massively this CSC.
I know.
What can we do? Because there's got to be the level that everyone's gotten to now. Surely there's got to be something that the game puts in that gives these people a better way of doing it. I don't know. Even if they split it down to alliance with less fragments or something like that, there's got to be a way of getting these fragments for people that have been playing for such a long time and still chasing a server where they can gain them. Feels
Yeah, I
like a
don't-
late stage in the game to be chasing groundhog fragments at the minute.
Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, if you break it up between alliance, I can see a lot of people gaming that system, creating like some weak alliance, and then making themselves the strongest position in that alliance out of like 10 people or something. So it's hard to say, but
We would never use those fragments to go onto our stars, Bug. We never would. We never ever would, Bug.
Never
Totally
say never.
Like 100% do.
So have you already
Yeah.
moved Bug to a new team?
Yeah, I moved on to Fox's team.
Oh,
Mhm.
my.
Yeah, so
Oh, my.
yeah, it's not a powerhouse, mega whale filled thing, but all the people there are really awesome. We have a laugh like every day, all day, and it's just a lot of fun. So I'm enjoying it
It's
so
it's
far.
what we want, It's what we want. Same as Nim, he's got a kind of group sewing circle where they knit and they talk about what they're going to make for the grandsons and stuff. Like, that's good for you, Nim. I love that. You do that. That's great.
Wow. Wow, Nick. That was a shot across the bow.
I know it was. It's okay.
I'll pay for it later. Don't even worry. I will.
He
so
will,
pay for it
because he
later.
made the mistake of letting me into their alliance chat, so it'll be just fine.
But, that is exactly what everyone wants. I mean, you want a group where it is the social side as well as the game side, where you can actually bring some of the people through that have got personalities, want to enjoy the game, but have always struggled with, getting a voice out there and saying the things that they want to say. So it's kind of why we spent so long yesterday talking about it, wasn't it, Bug? Because we had 25 people that were coming out and fighting last season. But, there's now me back in there, there's you in there, we've still got Def, we've now got Bandar, we've got a few extra players. And you need that vibe away from the game to keep the players actually motivated, even if it feels hard, even if it does feel like, you're not winning, like you are struggling, because it doesn't matter if you're all chatting in the background. It just doesn't matter. So it's a really, really nice environment. I mean, I can't stress enough. It started 2.5 years ago, training Alliance, looking after the people that didn't have a home, that were kicked from alliances, that, they weren't good enough for whatever reason. And it's kind of brought everyone together. So, I mean, I'm happy with it. I'm proud with it. Bug, obviously, you'll make a hell of a difference, and obviously updating everybody with the training side of things. you can see people respond to it. There's no egos. It's lush. It's a really, really nice place. So I would struggle in full focus for the way that I think nowadays. So there's got to be a home for everyone.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, how did everyone hatch in this 9 for 10 event? Did you get anything? Did you get anything good? Did you get what you wanted? More importantly, or did you just get, like me, a lot of extra orange ants, but not what I wanted?
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of extra orange ants, but not what I wanted. And admittedly, though, I didn't have like a stash of 500 eggs, so I wasn't expecting miracles this time around.
I got a lot of orange ants, but that is actually kind of what I wanted because I was very low on shells.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
great.
that's cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the
Like
odds.
someone said earlier,
Go ahead.
nimble ant. Somebody said earlier. Someone put in chat earlier. I got nimble. That's all I get. Nimble ant, nimble ant, nimble ant, nimble ant, nimble ant. If I was a shooter main and nimble ant was any good, I'd be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of stuff that I'll never use because I already have like 6 dupes of it, or I'm just gonna shell it. But I was kind of like, I was a little happy with that, even though I didn't get the ants, like the rarest of rare ants to hatch. I might have gotten one, but I already had it 8 starred. But like I would hatch 9 ants, get the 10th egg free, and get 2 gold ants in that one group of 10, which is huge. And that happened to me twice.
I saw one player got 4 ants from that. They
4?
posted it.
Oh my
in
god.
They posted it in our zone, or maybe even our alliance chat. I don't remember. It was either in our zone chat or alliance chat, or maybe it was even in the whatchamacallit, what's the new channel? Warzone channel.
Okay.
I'd have to
yeah.
go back and look. But they posted the you know how you can post when it hatches?
Yeah.
I was like shocked. 4
Right?
in one spin. I'm like,
The odds of that are like winning the lottery. That's
That
insane.
was this hatch, though.
what's that?
Yeah.
Was that this hatch?
This hatch, yeah, this 10 for 9. They got 4 ants in one spin.
Dang.
So,
Wow.
or
I saw
orange
someone
ants.
with 3, and I was like losing my mind.
Yeah, I think the most I've ever gotten is 2 that I can remember. Maybe one time I got 3. And the thing is, I literally save every Supreme egg for these hatches. So like usually by the time this rolls around, I'll have like 500, 600, 700 eggs or whatever, but depending on, because it's kind of not always right on time when they do these, right? As a matter of fact, I think this one was a little earlier than expected.
Earlier.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one was about a week or 2 late, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's always
it always
there or
it always
thereabouts.
depends. But yeah, I was pretty disappointed. I only wanted 1 ant, and I got 0 out of like 600 hatches or something, 550 or I don't know, whatever it was.
What was it you were looking for?
What's that?
What was it you were looking for?
A white crystal, preferably 2, but 1 would have made me happy.
So I did the math on hatching a white crystal, and I think it was somewhere around 1 in 248 chance to hatch one of those rare ants like white crystal. I put the new hatch rates table in chat, and it has a 0.06% chance of hatching. So you have 6 ants that have that same chance of hatching, which is really like 1 in 248. So I think something like, if you want to guaranteed get one of them, you have to hatch like 7,000 eggs if you wanted like one specific of those eggs.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
Let me,
Statistically.
let me just run to the bank manager.
Yeah.
One second.
No.
I didn't
Christ,
want
right.
it. I didn't want it that bad.
Yeah. You can always.
Well, I mean, it's better than not having the chance to. It's like the lottery, right? Like I'd rather have the chance to win it or like to hatch it than to never have the chance to hatch it. But yeah, I'm not a lucky person. It's why I don't gamble insects. I like it just, yeah.
Boom.
Nice.
There's a picture
Yeah,
of the.
Look at
There
that. 4.
Oh,
Look at
Dang.
that is lovely.
with a white crystal in there. Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
the-
way to rub it in, Flappy.
Sorry, Soul. I got the white crystal plus 3 shells.
yeah, just so I can
Do we have any
Amazing.
mod? Oh, look, Mod Oreo is in the. Please ban Flappy.
instant
Just
ban.
joking. I'm just joking.
Amazing.
It's our humor.
Rubbing it in. Got a white crystal and 4 orange ants in the hatch.
Unreal. Ban.
So, well, he needed the shell so he could like level it up. So
Yeah,
the game
see?
was being super
Perfect.
generous.
The game hates me.
Sorry.
Come to that conclusion.
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes I've seen it where people hatch those rarest of rare ants, or don't hatch them, or no, they do hatch them, but they're at a lower rate than what the developer has stated
For the other ones. Yeah.
for the
yeah,
rarest
that too.
ones. So if anyone has hatch pool info they want to shoot to us, feel free to send it to me. I'll take a look at it and calculate the odds of like what you hatched based on the stats that you're supposed to hatch them at. But aside from that, moving on to AMP, the AMPs.
I mean, but
AMPs.
overall, I think I will say this, though, in the defense of the developers. Okay. And I've talked about this before. My part of the reason why I'm such a hoarder of materials and stuff like that is because they did the last time they did like a major release where they included season ants in the Supreme Hatch pool. The first time that they introduced season ants, they did a 10 for 9 right before releasing them. Okay, so that cracked me because again, I have always saved hatches or eggs so I could use them on the 10 for 9, because the way I always look at it is like, okay, if you have 500 eggs or whatever, it's giving you at least 2 or 3 extra orange ants if you only are getting 1 ant every 30. You know what I'm saying? So like it might give you an extra couple orange ants that you can use for spore material or whatever may be the case, right? So that's why, in my eyes, it's better to just save the Supreme eggs, hatch them during a 10 for 9. Well, I had blown through all the eggs, and then like a week later they announced, oh, the new season ants, season ants now in Supreme Pool. And I was like, oh man, like would have had an opportunity to get those. So I like how they did it this time, right? They added this S4 ants into the pool, and then they came out with the 10 for 9. So that was cool. I mean, to be honest with you.
Yeah, better way to arrange that for everyone.
Yeah. And a lot of people did get ants that they were looking for,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, a lot of people got the ants that I wanted, and I'll never forgive them.
So where's everybody at these days with their AMP levels, and like how's that working out for everyone?
I'm on the slow roll myself.
So no testing, no amping up and testing out anything?
No, I'm amping up, but I like the way that I'm pursuing it is more. I'm chasing the evolution fungi building requirements so that I don't get stuck when I start pushing the evolution.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm slightly pushing the evolution as well, just not going crazy like another friend of mine that's in this stage group.
Crazy.
Yeah, man, you're way ahead of anybody that I've seen, to be honest with you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Bug, you're on 4, right?
But you know what I
maybe.
love about it? You can be the guinea pig and share all the charts that you're doing. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, so I'll post something in there. One of my sort of pro tips in the chat is I put it in the wrong chat. Hold on a second. Live chat. There we go. So one of my pro tips is to kind of go on the right side of that Evo tree first, only because if you do that, then you're going to reach damage buff faster than you're going to get to like a mitigation buff. So if you go on the left side, yes, you get some skill attack faster. If you go on the right side, you delay some power, but you do gain damage at a greater rate. So on the left side, here it is, 1 second. Left side of the tree, you're going to get Special Ant skill attack, and it's going to cap out at 10%. However, if you go to the bottom right or that third branch, you're going to get damage of 20% instead of 10. And damage, I don't know what you guys think, but in my opinion, damage is worth more to me than Special Ant skill attack. Anybody disagree with that? I know there's a lot of opinions, so I'm sure I'm going to get a yes, but would you rather have 20% damage or 10% Special Ant skill attack?
So we were talking about this, and I'm 50-50 still, just because of the way that the better ants or the newer ants now are so heavily weighted towards the skill attack rather than the standard generic damage. So I'm not sure. I really am not sure. I will love this conversation.
Yeah, I completely agree with Gigafox, especially for a carrier player where a lot of your damage is done by the Special Ant skills, not the soldier ants. It's kind of a toss-up, and I guess we'll see.
I'll show you. We've seen. So
come on, who's the answer here? So
at the bottom,
new ant.
At the bottom, hold on a second. At the bottom of this report I just posted, someone has 2% damage amplification. I have 27%, but their health is about 200 more than mine. Their attack is 100 and something more than mine, almost 200 more than mine. I still beat them. They had a lower level insect, but I beat them by a lot. I didn't just barely squeak by. And they had good ants, good paid insects. The insect level was a bit lower, but I think with this player having higher stats than me in certain things, I made up for it with this damage amplification and mitigation.
Okay. But, I mean, have you shared that in chat?
Yeah.
Because obviously that, I mean, how relevant are we taking that with the difference in ant numbers and so on and so on?
Hey, Bug, can you post your chart of the requirements for buildings? And
yeah, just give me a minute. They've been updated. I'll have to jump into something and
MC will post the so that way you can better chart it. Bugs being very kind and
Sharing his stuff.
being the guinea pig for the entire game.
Quite literally at the minute.
By pushing ahead so far.
The crazy guinea pig.
Yeah. It's okay. We like it. Thank you, Bug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's kind of what you're going to need moving forward. Um, so you can plan accordingly. I like Soul's kind of method where you kind of go in concert with your Evo building and whether or not you can level up your Evo. So, like, yeah, maybe you can amp up some buildings higher, but who cares? Get that Evo building to where
Mm-hmm.
you can Evo up the highest tier possible and Evo up before you start amping up your building levels.
Well, the way I look at it is this, like, we're limited on the amount. It doesn't matter whether you're a pay player or free to play. There's only X amount of material that can be used. The one thing that I did notice right off the rip is that the exchange rate of fragments to amp crystals is not the best, I would say. So I think ideally pushing the Evo using earned fragments versus converting the crystals into fragments is a better course. You may disagree, Bug, but I
No,
think
I agree. I am only doing it differently because of charting and stuff like that.
Exactly. So I mean, like I said, that's why I'm thankful that you're going ahead and doing that. But you know, in the end, do I think it's going to matter? Probably not. But like the the fact of the matter is not knowing the exact requirements of what it takes to get the queen. Like so far in this early stage of pushing these buildings and evolution, it's pretty straightforward. It looks like in order to bring the queen up to levels, the requirements are the nests. So whether it's, like carrier nest has to be level 4 to bring queen to 5. And then to bring queen to 6, it looks like it might be shooter nest needs to be level 4. So it looks like that's the conjunction. So investing I would say at this point, until we see what the further requirements are going to be of bringing the queen up, it's probably not a good idea to invest amp crystals in some of the other buildings that are required. But that being said, there are other buildings that are required to be brought up in order to bring up the evolution fungi building, which allows you to proceed further into that. So, like, there might be some buildings that you can amp that you don't want to be amping right now because they don't fall into the category of A, bringing up your evolution fungi, and B, bringing up your queen, which are the two most important factors in order to get to the assault soldier requirement.
Yeah.
So that bit of advice is something that I'm definitely a firm believer in, that like queen and evolution fungi are the two buildings that you really need to make sure you're investing the limited amount of amp crystals that we have in order to get to the assault soldier ants as fast as you can, because that really is the end game, even though the evolution does continue beyond that. But everyone's chase right now should be towards assault soldier ants. So by investing the limited amount of materials that we have in buildings that may not go towards that goal, I think is a very big mistake if anyone's doing that. So because it's just going to delay your ability to get assault soldier ants, which is kind of the most important factor. But in the end, in order to get assault soldier ants, both queen and evolution fungi, I think, have to be at 10, right?
Yeah, but like the mutation flora and the insect hatching nest don't have, so far anyways, they could throw it in there, but so far you don't get any benefit to going further in the Evo path by upgrading those two. So
Correct.
I've kind of shown a screenshot. I've separated those two buildings so that I don't accidentally upgrade one of them. And those do give you benefits, but they're not going to help you get further in the Evo tree as far as amp level 4 or lower is concerned. That's not to say that at amp level 6 they don't throw in, oh, now your mutation flora has to be at level 5. So you never know. But as of right now, you don't want to waste those very limited resources on the mutation flora building or the insect hatching nest.
Yeah, just like Bug stated, but yeah, I'll repeat it. Basically, what you want to do when you're pursuing this course is queen and evolution fungi are the two buildings that you want to bring up, okay? And there are sub requirements in order to bring both those buildings up, okay? So like on evolution fungi, you might have to have special ant nest at, like, let's say if you want to get the evolution fungi to 3, for example, okay? So in order to get evolution fungi to 3, you might have to have special ant nest at 2 and carrier nest at 2 and queen at 3, okay? So then you have to look at the queen and be like, in order to get queen at 3, you have to have shooter ant nest at 2, okay? So you want to follow that path to where your only goal with the buildings is the fungi building and the queen building, because those, like, in order to get the fungi building to a certain level, you have to have your queen at a certain level. And in order to get your queen at a certain level, you might have to have these other buildings at a certain level. That's the course that you want to path, because if right now you're investing amp crystals into, like Bug said, the insect building, for example, it's doing nothing to bring your queen and your evolution fungi buildings up. You're using the material now that could be used towards bringing those other buildings up, and now you don't have enough material, and you wind up getting stuck in the evolution process because, let's say, you've spent the fragments already, and now in order to get to the next level of evolution, you can't even do it because you have to get all these other buildings up, and you don't have enough amp crystals to do it. So the focus should only be on queen and evolution fungi building as far as the buildings are concerned. And even as far as the evolution fungi building is concerned, it's to make sure you have a clear path to continue down the evolution train until you get to a certain experience. And at that point,
that's the thing, isn't it? The evolution train is the one that we're kind of like thinking about now. So, I mean, you've got what we were saying about the type of ants and so on. Like Jake said, like I've gone completely the opposite to what Bug said, and I've gone almost 50-50 on both sides of the skill set Evo. I mean, I'll obviously hit damage as soon as I've done those two, but I know that, you know, my honeypot, you know, my extrapolation of skills is more important than my generic DPS for PvP, rather than just standard DPS for PvE. So I'm, from carrier point of view, I don't know whether or not just focusing straightforward DPS is right if you are a skill stacking lineup. If you've got an old style lineup, you know, if you're still using, I don't know, like Golden Crystal or something like that, where you're heavily reliant on your actual damage, your generic true damage, then fine. But aren't we now moving towards way more kind of synergy and skill stacking for our backline to be able to deliver that DPS?
it doesn't really matter, Fox.
You don't think?
In the end, it doesn't matter, right? Because
I know in the end, obviously,
You know,
none of this is going to matter. We're early, aren't we?
Yeah.
But
exactly. So, like, the thing is, and it's not going to matter very shortly because it's getting to the, you know, the way the Evo chain works is you have to have both of those completed, both sides completed in order to move on to the next Evo. So
yeah, But why not have
only
2
the
weeks
only
worth of
difference.
extra skill, defense, and skill damage whilst you're, leveling everything up? Because your skill
Yeah.
defense is massive at the minute, especially with like against pay dance and stuff.
Yeah. The only difference is going to be like in the short term, right? Like your path
Yeah,
versus the path that he's doing, may alter the course of X amount of battles, fights, whatever, until you get to that point, and then you have to have both of them upgraded to
Exactly.
continue.
You're at the same point anyway, aren't you? But
And I mean that's a natural thing that they do in the
that's
game.
right. Me and Bug will go arm wrestle over it tonight. But yeah, I mean that's my understanding at the minute. Is my ants are super skill stack rather than just standard generic true damage. So Bug, I think your way it's the right way of doing it to up that overall damage, but that's not what's being delivered in the most part for PvP. That's kind of more with PvE. So your route will give massive uplifts on PvE, right? So you'll get
Yeah.
a lot better scores on those short term, whereas hopefully, technically, I will get slightly better PvP results short term. But ultimately, we're both going to end up at exactly the same tree in pretty much the same time. So it's just a different route. So
Yeah. However, to your point, maybe it's a PvE thing because somehow I got 500 million more points in Groundhog than you.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And that is where
100%.
your true damage is going to come in rather than your hitting a lineup and your skill extrapolations. So for people that want the higher scores, your route is going to be massively more beneficial for them in game if they're focusing on PvE by far and away. By far and away.
Yeah. So by the time we get to season, though, that'll be filled up, and then I'll be on to the next special ant skill attack, and then be right there with PvP as well. That was kind of my strategy.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, and Nim, I think you're the same, aren't you? You do a lot of your own kind of like self-improvement. So maybe from your side of things, the PvE uplift in score is going to be kind of a focus for you as well, because you will track that a lot better than a lot do.
Against myself, yes.
Yeah.
But I've also been testing insect talents, so I've been adjusting where I'm going basically on pure skill attack rather than worrying about buffs that activate. So it honestly, for me with an Evo tree, I wasn't even really paying that much attention to it until Bug made the statement. But I'm like, I'm going to complete the Evo tree anyway at some point. So you're not really making a mistake if you choose one side or the other. It's more about what you want in the immediate gain. So I'm kind of like somewhere in between you guys. Like I didn't go strictly one side. I've been improving them both at the same time, but I'm twice as like I'm closer to Bug's path than your path, like where I've done them equally. Like I think my I can't even think of the name of it right now. I'm 15 on one and 7 on the other for improvements when it comes to that. But I have seen, like for me currently, I found from a PvE perspective that my hits have been really stable for Pango and Groundhog this week. I found, because normally when I have hits, it feels like my hits are bipolar and all over the map and in this weird range of like
1 billion damage.
But I found that this week, consistently across the board in Pango with all troop types and even with my Groundhog hits, that range was significantly smaller and it felt very consistent in my hits.
Okay, and Bug, you've had a big uplift of what, 500 mil? Did you say?
No, just compared to you.
Compared to me.
Well,
I mean, why you got to out me like that? We're in public, dude.
You've scored higher than I have. So
okay.
So you beat me, but not this time.
Right. Okay.
Like, so your highest score is well above what I've posted this week, but I'm just using it as an example. Like my PvE scores, to your point, are higher because I'm doing more damage.
Yeah. So have we got something that's gone in chat from you and Soul that just sort of highlights that kind of route about maybe not going down the insect side and bits and pieces for the interim as well, just so everyone's got kind of that in text rather than kind of trying to remember what we've just said? Because I think that's the bit that's the spot on part, isn't it? It's the avoiding that until potentially a little bit later down the line and just focusing on your Queen, your Evo, those ones.
Yeah, so like I'll post what I've grouped the buildings that are going to be important to, and then I put them off to the left that are not important. So like the
Done it.
mutation flora and the insect hatch building, not important. Those are not amped one bit. The other ones, on the other hand, in order to get the Evo up, and the special ant nest and the queen up, and the hatching nests up, those are all grouped in one area. Those are going to be the ones on the right of that picture that are going to help you to get your Evo building up and queen up.
Right. Oh, Step, you've done exactly the same as I have, bro.
No,
Like
no
Steps
kidding.
in, literally, he's done literally the same as I have. So he's gone down like the PvP route as well. His total amp is, I think, slightly higher, but yeah, for his Evo, he's literally the same. Tactics and precise. Like he's going 50-50 down the trees, the same as I am. So.
I kind of want to visit sort of the conversation Delulu was having in the chat about, because Soul had made the statement about switching crystals to fragments and it being like costly, like it's because the exchange rate seems kind of what's the right terminology?
It's 30%, so it's not as
so
great.
It feels expensive, but I think too, because after I kind of said it's more about the exchange rate from crystals to fragments. But then they had asked, but why is the rate not good? Like, what is the basis of comparison? And I think for me specifically, how I would answer that is I like to hold on to my crystals because I require those to get my buildings where I need them to be in order for me to do the Evo. So I am very careful about how I change those fragments over because I can't change them back. And then all of a sudden now I'm stuck and can't gain my Evos. So it's like this kind of, so it comes down to being a fine balance of making sure you have enough of each to get your 9th shells, but also get your buildings where you need to do. So you're set up for the following week in order to gain, do you know what I mean? So it's like this little tap dance that you do along the way. So it's not that it's sort of it's too expensive. It's more, you have to be, I can't think of the word of
make micro corrections.
Yeah.
Like if you're making a picture frame straight on the wall instead of tilted, you kind of got to go a little bit at a time, a little bit of adjustment. Does that look straight? No, it's still a little off. Make another adjustment. Does that look until it's perfectly vertical? Then you go, okay, I'm ready for the next thing. This is all in line with moving forward to the next step.
I mean, eventually, it's hard to tell at this early stage that we're all pushing the system on whether or not you're going to need more fragments or more amp crystals because, we don't. I mean, based on what I can tell, I think we're going to need a lot more fragments than we are in actual amp crystals. So I think exchanging them is not terrible at this point, but it's not ideal either until all the buildings are at level 10, if that makes any sense. It just seems that there's less, and then they may also introduce more buildings down the road, so that may throw off the calculation. But you hit assault soldier ants, and then there's continued Evo after that, right? So you're going to need more and more fragments as you push that evolution chain, where we already know there's a max level on the buildings, which appears to be 10. What the requirements are going to be on the amount of amp crystals, and that's why they have this exchange program in place right now. But it's too hard to tell on whether or not you're going to need more of one versus the other in order to get to the chase that we're all chasing right now as assault soldier ants.
This
Well,
is
and
it,
there-
isn't it?
Yeah, when there was a comment about like you can buy the crystals, but there's a huge number of players that are free to play or very minimal spenders, and I would much rather play on the side of caution and navigate it from the perspective of a free to play player, because you want to play with caution, because these types of materials are not easily accessible if you are like they are with work, but it's a limited number each week, regardless if you're spending or not. So you want to
Correct.
make sure that you're watching how and just doing enough and thinking about what you might need for the following week. Just like with creature remains, like you don't want to be number one and have no creature remains for the following week.
Hold on, there's a big difference here, though.
Yes,
So-
there is.
So with creature remains, creature remains, and the evolution towards creature remains is an unlimited purchase ability. So you can, I mean, if you have the funds, you could literally buy as many creature remains as you need to push any evolution that you want. So if the, you know, if you're a player that has unlimited funds, you could literally buy enough creature remains to blow through every evolution that takes creature remains. But when it comes to the amp system, it doesn't matter. There is a limit. There are, you know, the packs stop every week on what you can purchase in that. So regardless of whether you are a pay player or a free to play player, there is a limited amount of both amp crystals and fragments that can be had. So it's kind of, I think, purposely done as a stopgap to prevent, you know, like someone that does have unlimited funds to just blow through and tomorrow have assault soldier ants, right? So everyone is kind of limited, regardless
Different
of whether
level
you're a big player.
ceilings. I think that's what it is, isn't it? It's different level ceilings. We've all got them. That's it. So, yeah, agreed. We're like just gone over, guys. I don't know how far you're along with what you wanted to add in, Bug.
Yeah, there's no rush if people want to hang out. We can complete if there's stuff we need to do still.
I mean, those were the main things. I mean, one other thing we could just chat about quickly is if anyone has found any benefit to the new insect level conversion or anything like that, or I don't know, tested it out.
Nope, still chasing the scent shells to get to 60.
I haven't tested it out. I've toyed with it, but I haven't tested it out in the sense of like trying to. What I might do is when the next Guardian insect comes out, I might use it for a level conversion or a quick conversion or something to that effect. You know, swapping my Melly with, you know, my level 11 Melly to a level 7 new Guardian insect to a level 11, taking the 11 off the Melly. So I don't know. I haven't. 2 more weeks until guard insect. Okay, that's the estimation on that. So maybe a couple weeks, be able to try it out.
Nice.
That was really the only other thing. Unless anybody wants to talk about something else, feel free to raise your hand, type it in chat. I think
I'm just gonna throw it out there that I want to be just like Uncle Steppenwolf. Look, I'm literally such a tryhard to be Step. Look at that. That is like literally a carbon copy. I'm chasing you, bro. I'm chasing you, bro. I will give you my house for your mimic. Oh dear, funny. Sorry, guys, interrupt.
No problem. But if there isn't really any more questions, currently, I think we can say thank you for hanging out with us today.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have anything you need to say last minute before I do my final spiel at the end?
No, I think the nice thing about today was the alliance stuff. I think
Mhm.
for everyone that is still worrying about CSC or thinking about moving, kind of think about what we said. It isn't all about the game. You know, that amount of time you spend in the game is going to get kind of a little bit dark and murky if you're not actually having the nice part with the teammates, if you haven't got a decent alliance chat and whatever else. So, I mean, don't feel like you have to chase all of the strongest people on the planet to actually enjoy the game. Like, there's a lot more to it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Active Reward 4. Hopefully that comes out soon.
Oh, that's been there for ages, isn't it? Sat doing nothing. Hmm.
Well, I actually complete my dailies. So finally, because the last time we had this conversation, I was like, oh, yeah, I still haven't gotten to the end yet. And y'all yelled at me. So I've been a little less lazy, but it's also been made significantly easier to get there. So with adding like other rewards. So, all right. Well, I want to say thank you to everybody who popped in and hung out with us today. We appreciate your time and your questions and all of those things. If there was something that we didn't fully cover or you have questions about, we do have a Stage Topics channel. Please feel free to go in there and leave a suggestion. If it's something bigger than maybe what we would talk about it, I would recommend putting suggestions in the World Suggestions channel as well. I want to remind everybody before we hang up today to put your in-game ID in the live ID channel so that you can get a little extra something from Fairy for hanging out with us today. And last but not least, I want to remind everybody that if you would like to become a staff member or want to check out what the possible staff options are, we do have a recruitment channel, and there are lots of types of positions to join any of the staff teams. Other than that, I just want to say thank you, and I hope that you all enjoy your first week of September.
Enjoy. See you guys next time.
See you
Thanks,
next week.
guys. See you soon.